All right, everyone, get in the subway car.
Why?
We're going to take 18 of you hostage, and we're going to kill you unless you listen to this review.
Oh, man, you guys better get on in here and listen to this review.
This is Miss Purple. I guess you'd be Miss Black. We're just going by what we wear.
Hi, everybody. We watched The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3 this week for Refried Scenes.
The 1970... Yeah, I'm Carol. Sorry. Oh, by the way, this is who we are. We watched the 1974 movie and the 2009 movie. We did not watch the... it's 1990-something.
1998.
1998 TV movie. We looked for it, though, because that one stars Edward James Olmos and Vincent D'Onofrio.
I have a surprise for you.
You found it?
I found it while I was writing this, yeah.
Well, we're going to have to sit down and watch that one.
Yeah. We will... Maybe we'll post our comments when we post this podcast.
So
I'll go ahead and get started with the rundown. The original starts off with the bustling chaos of a New York City subway transit center. Four men wearing similar disguises and carrying concealed weapons board the same downtown 6 train, Pelham 123, at different stations. Using code names Mr. Blue, Mr. Green, Mr. Gray, and Mr. Brown, they take 18 people, including the conductor and an undercover police officer, and my cat, apparently, hostage in the first car.
We knew he was going to walk in here and give his opinion.
Maybe he's Mr. Gray. He's like, I am perfectly cast. Conversations between the hijackers reveal that Blue is a former British Army colonel and a mercenary in Africa. Green was a motorman caught in a drug bust, and Blue does not trust Gray, who was ousted from the mafia for being too violent.
How violent do you have to be to get ousted from the mafia as too violent?
Yeah.
They didn't kick Tony Montana out.
Gray shoots and kills a supervisor from Grand Central sent to investigate the stalled train. The ransom is transported. Oh, yes. There is a ransom.
Oh, yeah. It's $1 million here, right? Yeah, it's $1 million in the original, and then they up it for the...
it makes sense. Inflation, you know. So the ransom is transported uptown by a speeding police car, but the car crashes before it reaches the destination of 28th Street. I mean, it's New York City.
I don't know why they didn't use the motorcycles.
Right. As the deadline is reached, Garber bluffs, because they only have 1 hour.
Yeah,
which is ridiculous.
It's very, very tight schedule. Blue gives them 1 hour to get them the $1 million.
And Garber, the transit authority operator, bluffs Blue by telling him that the money has reached the station. And it just has to be walked down to the tunnel to the train. A police motorcycle arrives with the ransom, but 2 patrolmen carry the money down the tunnel, and one of them snipers and sniper shoots Brown.
Yeah. No, not Brown. Green. Green was the motor. No, wait a minute.
I'm reading from Wikipedia.
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah, okay, yeah. Well, yeah, he shoots him in the arm. Okay, yeah. He just wings him at that point, yeah.
He just wings him. Carol over here with her hijacker talk.
That's right, man. Shut up!
Did you get ousted from the mafia by any chance? Just curious. Blue orders Garber to restore power to the subway line and set the signals to green all the way to the South Ferry and clear the police from stations along the route so he can make a clean getaway. Before the process is complete, Green moves the train farther south. When Garber becomes alarmed, Blue explains that he wanted more distance from the police inside the tunnel. The hijackers override the dead man's switch so that the train will run without anyone at the controls. I didn't know anything about trains before I watched this, so that was
interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting to see how they worked and how the transit authority manned everything. The hijackers set the train in motion and get off. As they make their way to the tunnel's emergency exit, the undercover officer jumps off the train and hides between the rails. Unaware that the hijackers have left the train, Garber and Daniels, who are in the office, drive south above the train's route. With no one at the controls, the train gains speed. The hijackers collect their disguises and weapons for disposal, but Gray refuses to surrender his gun, resulting in a standoff with Blue, who shoots him dead.
Good for Blue. Gray was an asshole.
Was Gray the asshole?
Gray was the asshole. Yeah, in this one, that was Hector Elizondo.
I see.
Yeah, he was the one who... Well, we'll get into personalities in a moment.
Yeah. The undercover officer shoots and kills Brown and exchanges fire with Blue while Green escapes through the emergency exit onto the street. Garber, contemplating the train's last suspicious movement, concludes that the hijackers bypassed the dead man feature and no longer are on board. He returns to where the train had stopped, enters the same emergency exit from the street level, confronts Blue as he is about to kill the undercover officer. I'm going to say that again. He returns to where the train had stopped, enters the same emergency exit from the street level, and confronts Blue as he is about to kill the undercover officer. With no escape, Blue deliberately places his foot against the third rail and electrocutes himself. Meanwhile, Pelham 123 hurtles through the southbound tunnel. When it enters the South Ferry Loop, its speed triggers the automatic safeties. It screeches to a halt, leaving the hostages bruised but safe. Since none of the three hijackers that are now passed was a motorman, Garber surmises that the lone survivor must be. Working their way through a list of recently discharged motormen, Garber and Patrone knock on the door of Harold Longman, who is Mr. Green. After hastily hiding the loot, Longman lets them in, bluffs his way through their interrogation, and complains indignantly about being suspected. Garber vows to return with a search warrant. As Garber closes the apartment door behind him, Longman sneezes, and Garber reflexively says, "Gesundheit," as he had over the radio.
Several times. Yeah.
Garber reopens the door and gives Longman that "I know it was you" stare. Your sneeze has you busted.
Busted by his cold. He has a cold the entire movie, and he keeps sneezing over the radio. And Garber keeps saying Gesundheit to him. So do we want to talk about this one first?
Let's talk about this one first, and then do the rundown.
So Garber is played by Walter Matthau, who's kind of that go-to hangdog actor. You just put upon every man. Who's just doing his job, and then, Pelham 123. And I have to say, I had not seen either of these movies, and for the life of me, I thought Pelham 123 was an airplane. So I was a bit shocked that it was a subway car. Who in the hell hijacks a subway? Which is what they say a lot in this movie. Who in the hell hijacks a subway? But Walter Matthau plays Garber. Robert Shaw plays Mr. Blue. Martin Balsam plays Mr. Green, and you probably recognize him by sight, if not by name. Hector Elizondo is Mr. Gray, and then Earl Hindman I think that's his name, is Mr. Brown, and I barely recognize him because he played Wilson in Home Improvement, and you can see his entire face instead of just his eyes here.
There's no fence in front of him for you to recognize him.
There is a bad fake mustache.
They all had fake mustaches,
though. They all start out with fake mustaches. But Mr. Blue has this planned down to the minute.
For an hour heist, I mean...
Yeah, he sits there and does a crossword puzzle, but he knows exactly how long he has. He knows exactly how long they have to get out of the train and back up the emergency exit. I need this dude to come and help me with my bullet journal, because dude had a plan and he stuck to it until Mr. Gray kind of messed things up.
And he knows time efficiency.
Yeah, he's very efficient. And because he does kill one of the hostages, but he kills the employee. He does not take any of the actual passengers. he kills the employee, which I thought was like, yeah, that was going to be the obvious choice for the first hostage to die.
It was.
But I can't say I liked this. It was made in 1974.
Let's talk about...
There's casual misogyny and racism.
From everyone.
From everyone. From the good guys, mostly. Mr. Gray's an asshole, but he is supposed to be the asshole of the bad guys. Because he's the one that, they're going to kill internally. He goes a step too far and Mr. Blue kills him. But you have just anti-Asian racism from Walter Matthau. You have misogyny from just about everybody at the Transit Authority.
Yeah, especially the one coworker that has some beef with Garber.
Yeah.
He just does not want any broads.
Yeah, no broads. No broads in the picture. And his coworker, almost the entire movie is just going on and on about how his trains aren't running and just get this shit done because my trains need to start running. And I'm like, dude, this is a freaking hostage situation. And Garber finally shakes him and goes, I've had enough of you. But yeah. I'm like...
You kind of get the feeling that guy was so impatient, he would rather...
Just let 18 people die.
Yeah, expire those 18 people so we can get that train back on its schedule.
I didn't quite understand that. It just seemed like conflict for the sake of conflict within the Transit Authority.
Yeah, I agree.
I know we disagree completely about the soundtrack. I actually love the soundtrack to this film.
I hated the soundtrack.
It's very freeform jazz.
And that's not my bag.
Yeah.
I get what they were going for in that New York City is very freeform jazz in attitude, but it just sounded like my child banging on pots in the kitchen. There was it did not match what was happening on screen to me.
But yeah, this just... I realize it's made in 1974, and we've seen movies like that, because there's, like, mostly misogyny in Get Carter.
Yeah.
But that was mostly... You're not supposed to like those people. I mean, Mr. Gray is a racist, but I'm not supposed to like Mr. Gray. I mean, this is all coming from the people you're supposed to root for, and I'm like...
These people were not voting for equality.
No.
Back then.
No.
When there was a black person on screen, a white person had to say something racist about that black person.
Yeah.
If there was even the idea of a woman around, there was talks about,
the broads, they're
not going to be able to handle our language, or they're going to want to protect their kids. Like, who does that?
I know. It's just, and to me, it was the fact that it was the good guys that were this way, not the bad guys. I can handle it if it's the bad guys. I mean, in Get Carter, I handled it because nobody in that film is a good guy. They're all just asshole crooks. Here, these are the good guys that you're supposed to root to win, and the more civilized person was Mr. Blue, who has 18 people hostage. So, yeah, I can appreciate this, but I didn't really like it.
I thought it was directed well.
Which is odd, because the only other thing I know that this guy directed was Jaws 4, The Revenge.
Great movie. Known for the directing.
Known for some great directing.
No, but it was good directing.
It was good directing.
There was nothing in it that took you out of it except that time. But if you were watching that in 1974, I don't think that anything would have taken you out of the film.
Out of the film, yeah. And you're dealing with 1974 technology, so they don't have, other than the hand radio that they're talking to each other on, there's no communication.
It was cast really well. Even the wardrobe was good. Like, those fake mustaches were actually good.
They were actually really good. And I like the fact that Mr. Blue had this plan where they all kind of look similar getting on. They're all wearing kind of the same outfit. And when they leave, they all take their mustaches and their glasses. They change hats. They turn their coats inside out. And they suddenly all look very different. And he's doing this underground where no one is. We'll get to that in a moment with the remake. but when they decide to part ways, take the money and part their ways, it's all underground because everyone is dealing with the runaway train. So, and I like the fact
they scouted out, the path of the subway so that they would know where cameras are, where cameras aren't, where there's dark hallways or tunnels. Mm-hmm. For example, so they could not disrobe, but change their appearance, basically. Right.
So yeah, and it's very well cast. I'm a huge fan of Robert Shaw. I actually think he's kind of an underrated actor, and he's really good here. He does steely menace very, very well.
Yeah,
he's not a likable guy in this.
I think he acts better in this than he does in Jaws.
Okay, we're going to part ways there because I love my Quint, but he's
not saying he does
he's very
bad.
Stereotypical in Jaws. It's a stereotype in Jaws. Here, it's not a stereotype. He's just a guy who's used to regulations and dealing things in a very specific way, and that's what he does here. And when you toe the line or go over the line, you end up like Mr. Gray. So it's like.
All right, should I do the rundown for the remake?
Yeah, fast forward to 2009.
Okay, the remake starts off with the same feeling of throwing you into the busy transit authority office, and then cuts to Travolta boarding the train with colorful expletives for the added "I'm a bad guy" flair.
Yeah.
A man calling himself Ryder, Travolta, and his accomplices Bashkin, Emery, and former train operator Phil Ramos hijack Pelham 123 at 77th Street, uncoupling the front car of the train below 51st Street. They take the passengers hostage. Metropolitan Transit Authority employee Walter Garber, working the rail control center as a train dispatcher, receives a call from Ryder demanding $10 million in cash to be paid within 60 minutes. He does a little calculation with him to arrive at that number, but I don't remember what it is.
Very fanciful. It's very fanciful.
Ryder warns that every minute he waits past the deadline, he will kill a hostage. Bashkin kills a suspicious New York City Transit police officer, and all the passengers not in the front car, except the motorman, are released. Garber reluctantly negotiates with Ryder as Ramos and Emery set up internet access in the tunnel. On his laptop, Ryder watches the Dow Jones stock market plunge in response to the hijacking,
which I never understood.
He watches that in a moment. He watches the Dow off and on throughout the whole movie. A hostage's laptop also connects to the internet, and its webcam allows the control center to observe Ryder and Ramos. Lieutenant Caminetti?
I think it's Caminetti.
Caminetti, of the New York City Police Department Emergency Services Unit, takes over negotiations, which infuriates Ryder, who kills the train's motorman, forcing Caminetti to bring Garber back. Caminetti learns that Garber is being investigated for allegedly accepting a bribe over a contract for new Japanese subway cars. Ryder also discovers the allegations online and forces Garber to confess by threatening to kill a passenger. To save the hostage, Garber claims that he was offered the bribe while deciding between two companies, using the money to pay for his child's college tuition, and insists he would have made the same decision regardless. The mayor agrees to Ryder's ransom, ordering the police to deliver it. En route, the police car is involved in an accident and fails to deliver the money in time. Garber attempts to bluff Ryder that the ransom has arrived, unaware he has been monitoring events on his laptop. Ryder threatens to execute a child's mother, but another hostage, former soldier, sacrifices himself and is killed. A brief gunfight erupts after an emergency services unit sniper is bitten by a rat and discharges his weapon accidentally, killing Ramos with a direct headshot. Based on clues from Garber's conversations, the police discover that Ryder is Dennis Ford, a manager at a private equity firm who was sentenced to prison for investment fraud. Ford had agreed to plea bargain to serve 3 years, but received 10 years instead. One of the mayor's aides mentions the extreme drop in the major stock indexes, and the mayor deduces that Ryder is attempting to manipulate the market via put options.
Yeah, I'm not in any way, shape, or form knowledgeable on stocks or Wall Street, so I have no idea what a put option is.
This is a little bit above my head, but the gist is that he hijacks the train, using the ransom money as a guise to throw them off. Really what he's doing is waiting for the market to plunge and then take a quick spike upward.
Yeah.
Which
it has something to do with
quintuples his money.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a stock person, and this whole subplot just kind of, I didn't care.
Ryder demands that Garber deliver the ransom money himself to avoid coming in contact with police. Garber is flown to the terminal where he is given a pistol for protection. Ryder brings Garber aboard and orders him to operate the train down the tunnel below 33rd Street, where Garber and the hijackers exit, rigging the train to go on without them. Garber manages to separate himself at a railway crossing, and then follows Ryder to the Roosevelt Spurt underneath Waldorf Astoria Hotel. Ryder parts from Bashkin and Emery, who are shot dead after being surrounded by police and provoking deadly force in an apparent suicide by cop. The train comes to a screeching halt safely just before Coney Island, and the police discover that Ryder is no longer on board. Ryder hails a taxi, Garber following him on foot, and finds out that his scheme has amassed $307 million. That's more than quintuples. I'm sorry. Yeah. I read that wrong on the display. Garber steals a car following him on foot and finds out that his... Oh, sorry. Garber steals a car and pursues Ryder. After a brief chase, they reach the Manhattan Bridge's pedestrian walkway, where Garber catches up with Ryder and holds him at gunpoint. Ryder gives him a 10-second ultimatum to pull the trigger. In the final seconds, pulls out his own gun, forces Garber to shoot him, telling Garber in his final breath, "You're my goddamn hero."
Because we can't not curse in this film.
Ryder collapses and dies as Garber solemnly looks on while Caminetti observes approvingly from a chopper. He does. Does he give him a thumbs up?
He does. He gives him the thumbs up because the cops are freaking useless in this film.
The mayor thanks Garber and assures him the city will go to bat for him over his bribery admission. The film concludes as Garber returns home to his wife with the milk
that she had asked him to buy.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay. So first off, Tony Scott directed this very poorly. Within the first 5 minutes of where they're introducing the characters getting onto Pelham 1, 2, 3, the hijackers, I swear to God, he reuses 3 or 4 shots.
Yeah. And bad shots.
Bad shots. Not good shots.
Yeah.
And he does that throughout the entire film. Reuses shot after shot.
When you take B-roll, you throw out the bad shots. And you keep several good shots so that you have them to splice to these cuts. So Tony Scott, I'm going to need you to go back to film school and learn that.
He's dead.
Okay. Well, my bad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to speak ill of the dead. The directing on this film
was terrible.
Was not good.
It was terrible.
It did take me out of the film.
It did, because there were several seconds, particularly the helicopter scenes, where they're doing this whoosh effect, taking you through the streets of New York, and you're not like whooshing with the helicopter. It's literally stopping the film and it blurring everything. It's a horrible effect, and he keeps using it over and over and over.
That didn't bother me nearly as much as you have a group of 2 to 3 to 4, maybe even sometimes 5 people talking, and the camera encircles
Spins
them
around
the
them.
entire conversation.
Just constantly spinning around them.
They did that how many times in this movie?
I don't know.
I mean, it was just like, dude,
just stand still. They've dispensed with the color. The Mr. Blue and the Mr. Gray.
Oh yeah, there were no.
There's no disguises. There's no nothing.
Disguises,
They just walk on.
No presenting an anonymity. Well, okay, so Dennis Ford went by Ryder.
Yeah, he went by Ryder.
That's the only name
But
change.
that's the only name change, and I don't even know why he bothered to do that, because what's the point?
He wasn't anticipating
I guess I don't know.
being found. He wasn't anticipating talking so much, telling his story so much, and revealing so many clues about himself. But he really just
Within 5 minutes on that phone, he's told Denzel Washington he's Catholic, and that he doesn't like Italians, and he doesn't like black people.
Yeah, there's no. This is how the racism involved here.
Here is
It was you're Irish, ain't you?
Yeah,
and we know
Irish and Italians. He doesn't like either of them. He's from New Jersey. What the hell? And what are you?
He looked Italian. He's Travolta. He's fucking Travolta. Like,
the bad guys here are so bad. 2 of them are completely useless. You don't even get to know anything about them.
That's when I was reading this, I was like, who the
Emery
hell was
and
Emery
and
Bashkin?
Yeah, the 2 disposable ones that rarely talk.
All we do is see them sort of pace back and forth on the subway car, making sure people are not talking to each other, although people are talking to each other.
And you have one kid literally on his computer, talking to his girlfriend, and he tells her to live stream everything.
That was one of the most annoying fucking things.
And she's like, in the middle of this hostage crisis, tell me you love me. Why can't you tell me you love me? I'm like, oh, wrong time and place, honey. I'm a little bit busy. I love you is 3 words, and that was more than 3 words. I'm like, oh, God.
That was annoying as fuck.
It was totally useless subplot. Denzel Washington doesn't tell his wife that police officers are coming to search their freaking house. He doesn't even tell her that there's a hostage situation until she calls him and say, "Why are the police here?"
Well, yeah. I have some beef with that.
As much as I didn't really like the first one, it was okay, but the acting was really good. The acting here is just across the board. Denzel Washington just phones it in. He's a good actor. He's a really good actor, but there are times when he just coasts through a part, and I felt I
think he's letting the other person do let them shine in those moments.
And unfortunately, it's John Travolta, and John Travolta never shines.
Or the other people in the Transit Authority and the mayor.
Which was, oh God, who played Tony Soprano? Oh, I can't believe I've blanked on Tony Soprano's name. The actor who plays Tony Soprano.
Well, while you look for that, so the racism is still present, just sort of less everybody.
James Gandolfini.
James Gandolfini.
Yeah. He's the mayor of New York. He's the one that figures out that he's a trader, or the stock market trader, not a trader.
Wall Street guy.
Wall Street guy. But none of this really kind of gels and works.
To me, I disagree with you there. To me, this has a better storyline than the original because we know why things are happening, and I enjoyed that aspect.
And we know where they met. Because in the first one, you're never told where these 4 very different people met.
I was fine with that because I assumed that they were hired, Yeah,
I assume they were hired by Mr. Blue.
And so I was fine with that, but I didn't know, well, why are they hijacking this train?
Money. Yeah.
Why does he need the money? Like any of those.
Yeah.
Any of those whatsoever.
I can see where Martin Balsam's character needed the money because he was just fired, and he wanted to get back at the Transit Authority for firing him. Mr. Brown, I'm assuming, worked with Mr. Blue several times because they seem to be very...
They had more familiarity.
Yeah, they had more familiarity. Mr. Gray was the outlier that they just seemed to hire because they needed some muscle. I
just prefer the way that the plot was revealed to us, I guess. In the remake.
I have issues with John Travolta for one thing because he's crazy Travolta here. He's just screaming all of his lines.
It's very quintessential 1998. Like, this is how a gangster behaves.
Yeah, you got to scream everything. You got to throw F-bombs in there every 5 seconds. You got to insult everybody who you're talking to. It became very tiresome listening to John Travolta. And at the end, for the life of me, the end of this movie where they're in the standoff, and I can't understand why Denzel Washington is the one chasing him. The cops are just freaking useless here, and you have a bunch of cops.
The cops are approaching.
Yeah, they're approaching
gently.
It's like freaking Sir Lancelot and Holy Grail. And then,
bringing the damn. They're bringing your AC into service gently.
They're just every time they just seem to see the same distance away, and I'm like, why are you not shooting this? Or doing something.
Denzel, if I were Denzel, I would have shot him in the leg.
Yeah, or something.
I wouldn't have shot to kill.
And it's not like he had to aim. He was literally standing 2 feet away from him. He's not standing that far away from him.
I'd have shot him from the leg back from...
yeah.
Just when he gets out of the
But also,
taxi.
Why are you... In the original, Garber is an actual police officer. He's a lieutenant who works for the Transit Authority. He is an actual officer. Here, Garber's just a worker. Why are you giving him a gun? There are times where I'm like, well, you're going to let him do this. No, you're not. You're not going to let a civilian just walk in this and do this. I don't care what Travolta says. Particularly since Travolta has never... Well, he looked him up. That's right. He looked him up on his computer and saw a picture. But you're not going to just let the civilian have a gun and go after your bad guy for you. Unless, of course, you're apparently the New York Police Department.
Yeah. It was not a perfectly written film. I just think it is better than the original. That's all I'm going to say. However... my vote overall still goes to the original.
Yeah.
It's a better movie.
It's a better movie. Neither one of these films is something that I would hunt out and go, oh, yeah, I gotta watch me some Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
I'm never listening to that music again.
That was voted one of the best soundtracks by NCR.
I know!
I can't even remember who wrote it. It's a pretty big jazz guy that wrote the soundtrack to Pelham, the original.
Not my bag, baby.
The remake had the score was just noise.
It was just
it was just noise.
It was just noise.
So yeah, my vote is also for the original.
I will not say that the wardrobe was of any quality.
Oh no!
I mean the neck tattoo, the wool cap, the sunglasses. It was all just so fucking cliche.
Yeah,
and.
You would look at these guys walking on the subway and go, "Wow, those guys are up to no good." Whereas you
would look at them and go, "They're going to a Halloween party dressed as
as gangsters."
Like, it is that. It's just that.
It's that cliche.
Yeah. I mean, he even has that like pencil facial hair.
The little pencil beard. It's
just gross. Just very 1998. No.
So my vote is for the original as well. I would have liked to have watched the TV movie before doing this just to compare. But like I said, neither one of these movies is something I'd seek out. But the bad guys in particular in the original one are far superior, just acting wise.
Far superior.
Yeah,
I agree.
So that is the Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, which is not an airplane. It's a subway car, which apparently leaves Pelham Station at 1:23 in the afternoon.
That's how it's got its name. So what do you think we're going to let these hostages get out of here now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's no way that the mayor of this town's going to get $1 million together in 1 hour.
Damn. Maybe I can get a sandwich or something.
I do like that the mayor in the first one really kind of resembled Ed Koch, even though he wasn't mayor yet.
Oh, that's just cute and coincidental.
Yeah. Okay, so next up, go to our handy randomizer. We're going to...
Do you have our list up?
I have the list on the phone as well.
Oh, okay, cool.
Randomizing number 21, which is The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
How do you feel about that?
I feel pretty good about this, actually. I like the Danny Thomas one. I've never seen the Ben Stiller one.
Opposite. I have only seen the Ben Stiller one. I didn't even know that was a remake.
Ah, cool. So this will be very interesting. Excuse me, I just lost my voice there for a moment. This will be very interesting. So next up on Refried Scenes will be The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
All right.
Until next time.
You guys have a good holiday.
Yeah, definitely have a good holiday.
I hope you did have a good holiday, depending on when this is posted.
Yeah, probably. I hope you did have a good holiday. Also, get your ass off the train. We need this train to go places. Bye.